Hey there, Fold Space fans. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to fold my all-time favorite heart model that was designed by the late, great Francis Al. And if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for lots more great content here at Fold Space Origami Studio. As you can see, this heart features a color change for the wings. So I recommend that you use a piece of paper that has a different color on each side, such as a piece of kami. To begin, let's start with the white side of the paper facing up, and I'm going to take the bottom edge and match it up to the top. Creating a book fold. Next, we'll take our book fold and open the book, and then take the bottom edge of the open book up to meet the top edge of the open book. Unfold your paper, and let's flip the paper over onto the colored side so that we can take the bottom edge and match it up to this center crease in the middle. Now let's flip the paper back over to the other side. And notice that I flipped it over bottom to top so that the creased edge is now at the top of the model. And next we're going to take each of these bottom corners and bring them to this intersection, or in other words, we're going to align the edges of this flap with the crease lines in the paper. And we will do that on both the left side and the right side. Now I'm going to take the model and rotate it so that it looks kind of like an arrow pointing to one side. And now I'm going to take this short edge at the bottom and bring it up to meet this line in the middle. And now we want to repeat on the opposite side. So I'm going to rotate the model so that it points in the opposite direction, and do the same step with this edge. Okay, now we are going to use the creases made in the previous step, and I'm going to unfold those flaps for now, and we want to make two inside reverse folds, one on each side. So what that looks like is that we can take this corner flap and open it up. And so you see this rectangle shape. And down here we have a valley crease. We want to begin by reversing that valley crease into a mountain crease. And as we do that, we then begin to reverse this diagonal mountain crease into a valley crease. So we can kind of push that inside the model and close this flap again and flatten it out once again. And now the flap has been inside reversed. Let's repeat that on the opposite side. So we're going to kind of slightly unfold this triangle flap and then kind of flip it around so that we can see this rectangle. And here's our valley crease. And I'm just going to kind of gently pinch that valley crease into a mountain. And then my thumb starts to reverse this diagonal crease so that we can start to push it inside the model. And I'm going to flip it back around this way so that you can see how it goes in and then sits down flat once again. Okay, now we're going to focus on these two white squares, and we're going to push our finger underneath and kind of push the square open and to the side to make a squash fold. And when we do so, we want to flatten the paper so that the crease line in the middle of this triangle aligns with the edge underneath it. So let's get that to sit flat, and then we can kind of flatten out the edges of that triangle here. And there is our squash fold. And of course, we want to repeat the same step on the opposite side. We kind of push our finger underneath and send that flap over to the side. We get the triangle shape. And let's look for our alignment with this edge here. And then once we have it aligned, we might have to kind of get underneath it a little bit there. There we go. Got a little messy, but that's okay. And we're going to flatten out the triangle along its sloping edges. Now we can take the model and flip it over front to back like we're flipping a pancake. Now let's take this bottom point and bring it up to meet the top edge in the center, folding through all of the layers. So it helps to really push this on the table and hold it down steady while we align the bottom corner with the middle of the top edge, and then we can make our crease. Now let's flip the paper over from the front to the back once again, and I'm going to flip it over top to bottom. So here we are, and I want you to notice these two rectangle flaps here at the top, and there's a slit here in the middle. And we're now going to do 2 more squash folds. So let's do that by taking our pointer finger and kind of pushing it underneath that flap and pushing that layer up. And as we do so, and as we move to the outside of the model here, we start to get another one of those triangle pockets, just like before. And we want to align the crease in the middle of the triangle with the corresponding horizontal edge just beneath it. So there's a squash fold on this side, and let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Get inside, kind of push that up, flatten the paper, and then look for the alignment with that crease in the middle of the triangle so that it aligns with the corresponding edge underneath it. Okay, now we're going to take the middle edge here of this flap, and we want to bring this edge down to meet this horizontal edge. So we can do that by kind of bringing that down, and there you go. And of course, let's repeat on the opposite side. Next, we're going to take these points at the top and we're going to fold them down just a little bit. And the reason being, let's just peek on the other side real quick. You'll see that we have a heart shape, but it's kind of pointy at the top. And hearts usually aren't very pointy at the top, are they? Nah. So let's go to the back again, and let's just take the top corner just a little bit here and fold that down ever so slightly to make a more rounded looking edge. Even though it's still a straight edge, it looks a little more rounded. And let's do the same thing. Just a little bit, however far you like. And then if we peek on the other side once again, there we go. There is our heart. The heart part of the model is finished. And now we're going to take this extra white paper here, this large trapezoid flap, and we're going to pleat it to make the wings. Okay, so here's how we're going to do that. Looking at the back of the model once again, we will start out by taking this bottom edge and we're going to bring it to this top edge of the trapezoid here. Okay, and of course the trapezoid is this whole white shape. So we've got a bunch of layers we have to fold through, so let's make sure we hold the paper down while we do this. And let's take that bottom edge up to the top of the trapezoid and crease firmly. Okay, great. Now let's unfold that previous step. And now we are going to bring this crease here up to meet the top of the trapezoid. And what I mean by that is we're going to fold this up like so. And notice that as I pull this flap up, you see the mountain crease side of that previous step. And so what we can do, we're going to hold the paper down steady, because again, there's a lot of layers here that want to shift around. But if we kind of hold it steady and bring that up, we want to align this mountain fold with the edge that is behind it. So here we go. I'm going to kind of use all my fingers here just to kind of like hold it down while I'm bringing that crease up to align with the edge behind it. Make a nice sharp crease. And we can now unfold that step. And now we're going to do a similar thing, but here at the bottom, but this time we're actually just going to take that bottom edge and we're going to bring it up to meet the closest crease just above it that runs parallel. So here we go. We're going to bring that up to the closest crease just above it. And then we can unfold that. And we now have 3 valley creases that subdivides this trapezoid into 4 sections. Next, what we need to do is create mountain folds relative to these valley folds that run parallel to those same creases and that fall just in between each of these 4 segments, okay? So what I recommend we do is pick up the model and flip it around like so. So now we're actually looking at the mountain fold side of those creases, okay? And here are those 4 sections. There's one here, 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 and here, okay? And let's start at the bottom, okay? And I'm going to fold in the air. And notice how I'm kind of using my fingers like this to hold the paper, and I'm going to use my thumbs to make the fold here, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift my fingers around a little bit actually, so that I can pinch that bottom edge up to meet the first mountain crease. And this is a very narrow area of paper, so it does take a little bit of finessing, and we just want to kind of match that up. And there we go. So there's our first one, okay? And we can leave that in place as we continue to do the next ones. So let's look at this again from here. And so there's my mountain crease here at the top. And once again, I'm going to kind of use my fingers to help kind of pinch this bottom edge up to meet the mountain crease. So here we go. Let's pinch that up, match it up. And I'm just going to kind of pinch all the way out to one side, and then I'm going to pinch all the way out to the other side. And there's the next one. And then we're going to repeat 2 more times. So here we go again. We can kind of move this out of our way if we have to. And now we're going to take this bottom edge up to meet this closest mountain crease. But I'm going to notice how I kind of put my index fingers kind of along where I want the crease to take place. Meanwhile, I'm bunching the pleat together behind those layers. And you see how I kind of use my thumbs and pointer fingers to kind of get that bottom edge up to that top edge. And then I'm just going to kind of pinch the rest of it into place once everything kind of knows where to go. Okay, and we've got 1 more to do, and then we're pretty much done. So let's look here. Now we've got that really long, skinny trapezoid. And at this point, it might actually be easier to set the paper down on the table. So here, let's try that. I'm going to set the paper down like so, just because all of these layers underneath, they're getting to be quite a few of them. So it might be easier to just kind of pinch that bunch of layers, that pleat, that accordion fold, up. You see how we can just kind of pinch that up and bring it up to meet that horizontal edge. And we can finish it out on one side and then finish it out on the other. All right, now we've got our wings pleated, but now we need to shape them. So to do that, if you look at the back of the heart and kind of pull this down a little ways, and it's important that we kind of push up the middle of the wing flap, because that will kind of help divide the wings into two wings. And here we go. So we're going to take this side, and if you just kind of spread that accordion fold open a bit on one side, still making sure this is kind of pushed up in the middle so it can keep its shape, and repeat on the other side. Pull that down. And there you have it, the winged heart designed by Francis Au. Now, one thing I really love to do is to take these hearts and attach them to blank greeting cards and give them to someone special. And I find that two-sided tape works pretty well for adhering the hearts to the cards. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Happy folding!